Bugles, up. Bugles, down.
Roll off medley sequence 1. Front, roll, off. sequence 2. Drums, roll, off.
Instruments up.
and welcome to our annual National Defense Night. Our Congress will come to order. Please remain standing until the colors have been posted. This evening's invocation will be provided by our Chaplain General, Pamela Peterson Bork. Mrs. Bork.
Thank you, Madam President General. Our scripture tonight is from Psalm 46, verse 1. God is our refuge and our strength, an ever-present help in trouble. I now invite you to pray in your faith and tradition as I pray in mine, and may we pray together. Eternal God, we thank you for this land that we love, our beautiful country from sea to shining sea. So many have sacrificed so much down through the centuries so that we can live here in freedom. We pray for our country's leaders, that you give them wisdom and courage to do what is best for our country to keep it strong and free. We ask your blessing for those who willingly serve in defense of our great nation, and for the Blue and Gold Star mothers who raised, nurtured, and sacrificed for them. We ask you to look favorably upon all the volunteers who give aid to those heroic individuals in their times of need. Fill our hearts with gratitude and give us the grace to follow in the footsteps of these patriots who serve so faithfully in your name. In the name of our Heavenly Father we pray. Amen.
The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America will be led by Lynn Forney Young, our Honorary President General. Mrs. Young.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, the Americans' Creed will be led by Cornelia B. Oldie, our Continental Congress National Chair. Mrs. Oldie.
I believe
in the United States of America, as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy in a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies. Jennifer S. Volkschild, Editor-in-Chief of our American Spirit magazine and the Daughter's newsletter, and retired U.S. Army Colonel, will lead the assembly in singing the first verse of our national anthem. Ms. Volkschild. Please enjoy the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps while the colors are retired and our beautiful state flags are posted. While the colors and our beautiful state flags are posted and our pages retire. Please be seated. We are delighted to have with us this evening the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps under the capable direction of Drum Major Staff Sergeant Aaron Morgan. The Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps is the only unit of its kind in our armed forces and is part of the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. The Fife and Drum Corps is stationed at Fort Myer in Virginia. The musicians of this unit recall the days of the American Revolution as they perform in uniforms patterned after those worn by the musicians of General George Washington's Continental Army. Military musicians of the period wore the reverse colors of the regiments to which they were assigned. The uniforms worn by the members of the Corps are dated to about 1784. Please join me in expressing our appreciation to the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps. Thank you. As we gather to salute our nation's military and our band exits, I hope you'll enjoy this short video on the screens. It honors our military service personnel and veterans who are DAR members or their families from across the country and the decades. Thank you to all who have served. Indeed, let us formally begin our National Defense Night by recognizing our men and women in uniform. If you are or have been a member of our armed forces, please rise to accept our gratitude. Thank you. I also deeply appreciate our members around the world who acknowledge the debt we owe to those who wear or have worn the uniform of our nation through family support and all sorts of volunteerism. Thank you, ladies, for supporting our active duty military and our veterans. Please also join me now in congratulating the women who have been elected to serve for the next 3 years. Will each of them please rise in their place, and will the audience please withhold its recognition until all have been presented? Pamela Rouse Wright, President General. Virginia Sebastian Storage, First Vice President General. Virginia Grace Lingelbach, Chaplain General. Lanabeth Lunsford Horgan, Recording Secretary General. Janet Chapin McFarland, Corresponding Secretary General. Nancy Sherm Wright, Organizing Secretary General. Sherry Edwards, Treasurer General. Rhonda Crawford Kren, Registrar General. Suzanne Marie Heskey, Historian General. Cynthia Cleveland McNamara, Librarian General. Susan Lee Metzger, Curator General. Janelle Link Mongno, Reporter General. Please recognize these newly elected officers. You will have the opportunity to congratulate them at this evening's reception, where they will process in at the JW Marriott Hotel and, of course, following tomorrow's installation ceremony. It is also a pleasure to present to you the newly elected Vice President's General Class of 2025. Will each rise as her name is called, and will the audience withhold its appreciation until all have been presented? Cecile Wimberly, Tennessee. Leanne Featheroff Turbyville, Virginia. Beth Walker Watkins, Pennsylvania. Candace Jane Kane, Nebraska. Charlotte Hodge White, Louisiana. Helen Hicks Polk, Mississippi. And Patrice Poley Berner, New York. Please recognize these ladies now. We congratulate each of you upon your election, and we wish you best wishes for a successful term in office. Before we proceed to the rest of this evening's program, please allow me to present the special guests who are seated in the President General's box. Please welcome the members of my family. Withhold your recognition until all have been presented, and will they please stand? My long-suffering husband, Chris Barkley. My son, Skylar, U.S. Army Captain, Joint Staff, and his partner, Amanda Schrenkel, and his guest, Ryan Brown. My son, Troy, his wife Stephanie, and their son James, who you met previously. My son Brett and his friend Fiona Jones, and my sister Cindy Hollywood and her husband Brian. Please recognize them now. Thank you for being here and for your love and support. All throughout the year, DAR members, chapters, and state societies recognize and celebrate with pride the individuals who serve this great country and our armed forces and agencies tasked with protecting the freedoms for which our ancestors so bravely fought. But it is here, at DAR's Continental Congress, where it has become an honored annual tradition to acknowledge those individuals deserving of special recognition. This evening, we honor truly exceptional men and women who have devoted their lives to protecting our country and caring for our nation's active military personnel and veterans. Our annual National Defense Night holds a very special place in the hearts of every DAR member. It reminds us not only of the sacrifices that were made by our own Revolutionary War ancestors, but also of the sacrifices being made this very evening around the world by men and women who serve our country in uniform. Let us together reaffirm the freedoms we hold so dear and continue to promote the patriotism, responsibility, courage, and discipline that form the foundations of those freedoms. We dedicate this evening's program to those who serve to protect the United States of America. We salute them and we thank them for defending our freedoms and preserving our way of life for future generations. While our National Society has recognized our American military from its very inception, it was in the dark days that followed the attack on America on September the 11th, 2001, that our National Society created the Dar Patriot Award to honor these men and women who provide extraordinary service to protect America's freedom. This award may be presented to those who exhibit heroic efforts and unfailing commitment to defending the United States of America. General Mark A. Milley, currently the 20th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, has dedicated his career to the U.S. Armed Forces and personifies this steadfast service and deep commitment to our nation and its interests. General Milley is the nation's highest-ranking military officer and serves as the principal military advisor to the President, the Secretary of Defense, and the National Security Council. Prior to becoming chairman in August of 2019, he was the 39th Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army. A native of Massachusetts, General Milley received his first commission from Army ROTC upon graduating from Princeton University in 1980. In the last 42 years, he has held positions in 8 divisions and special forces, including deployments to Egypt, Panama, Haiti, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Iraq, Somalia, Colombia, and 3 tours in Afghanistan, where he served as Commanding General, International Security Assistance Force Joint Command, and Deputy Commanding General, U.S. Forces. As the Chief of Staff of the Army, General Milley focused on modernization efforts of the Army's technology, equipment, and training. Joining General Milley tonight is his wife, Holly Ann, who is seated in the President General's box. Holly, would you please stand so that we might recognize you? Thank you for being here. They just had a set of twin grandchildren. General Milley's awards and decorations include the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, the Army Distinguished Service Medal, Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, and many others. In recognition of his many years of distinguished service and admirable leadership, we are honored this evening to add to his impressive list of recognitions the Dar Patriot Award. Sir, would you please join me at the podium?
Well, thank you, Denise, and I appreciate that. I'm very humbled actually to be here and to receive that, and I'm really receiving that on behalf of the 2.1 million of us that are in uniform today. And I appreciate the fact that you called me out now as a grandfather. And to my lovely wife, Holly Ann, who represents all the families of our soldiers, our sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardians. They sacrifice and suffer in many, many ways, far more than any of us do. We know what we're doing at a moment in time, but our families don't. And when we go off to war, it is our families who think the worst every minute of the day. So on behalf of all the families, I would like to give Holly Ann and all the families of our soldiers, sailors, our airmen, Marines, Guardians, Coast Guardsmen a big round of applause. And Denise, since you mentioned that Holly and I are new grandparents, I don't know if you know it yet, but your son, Captain Van Buren, who works for me on the Joint Staff, His partner, Amanda, is actually not his partner, it's actually his fiancée, which happened about an hour ago while you and I were talking. So if I could get... Can we get you to stand up there, Captain? Captain, go ahead, stand up. Amanda, go ahead and give each other a big... There you go. All right. We in uniform call that payback. So, sorry. So this is a solemn occasion, and I appreciate the award, Denise. You know, you don't have to wear a uniform, actually, to serve in this country and to serve the Constitution. And you, the Daughters of the American Revolution, 180,000 strong, in all of the states and cities and highways and byways of America, you represent everybody from across the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from Minnesota to Mississippi. It doesn't matter where you're from, right? Daughters of the American Revolution are everywhere, and you do so much to support our military and our veterans. I want to give you and your entire organization a round of applause. And I will say, as you read off the new executive officers, I noticed their names: Registrar General, Librarian General, Treasury General. I think I'm the lowest ranking general here, and we're going to have you all over for a Joint Chiefs of Staff meeting here next week, so it'll be good. Hey, there's a very special group in here tonight, represented by Joanne Maitland, and it's the Gold Star Mothers. And as I mentioned with my wife and the families of the fallen hold a special place in my heart, and they do in all of your hearts. And we can never repay them, no matter what words we say, what actions we take. There's nothing that'll ever fill the hole in their hearts, the hole of grief. But we can always honor them. And tonight, we honor you, Joanne, and all of the Gold Star Mothers and all the Gold Star families that are here. And I am very proud of all the awardees that you're going to see come before you tonight. And we really recognize a long line of patriots, and you are descendant from them, who have stepped forward to serve this country, from the citizen militia in my hometown of Boston and the Continental Army, who took up arms to fight on the 18th of April in '75, and hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year, and the midnight ride of Paul Revere on Lexington and Concord. And they fought at Bunker Hill. They fought all the way through victory. The incredible men and women from every town and background earned us our freedom. And that freedom is ours to enjoy. That's our inheritance, and it's also our duty to pass that on to the next generation. And this week, just a few days ago, our nation lost a member of the greatest generation who was going to be here tonight, the last surviving World War II Medal of Honor recipient, Corporal Hershey Woody Williams. Herschel Williams, Woody, began his life in humble beginnings on a farm in West Virginia. He weighed only 3 pounds at his birth, and yet he had the heart of a giant beating in his chest. Like millions of Americans, the bombing of Pearl Harbor inspired him to join the fight. But Woody's mom wouldn't sign the papers for him to join because he was only 17 at the time. He persisted and joined the Marines at 18 and quickly shipped off to the Pacific. In January of 1944, Woody arrived as a replacement in the 3rd Marine Division, which was then stationed in Guadalcanal following the battle there. Woody was a flamethrower. and he then fought in the Battle of Guam as part of the Marianas Campaign. And next, a year later, he fought at the fierce Battle of Iwo Jima in February 1945. It's the bloodiest battle in Marine Corps history, and it's the bloodiest battle per square mile in American history. And it was on Iwo where Woody did the actions that he received the Congressional Medal of Honor for. 70,000 Marines in 3 Marine divisions, my father among them, against 21,000 highly trained and dug-in Japanese soldiers. This life-or-death struggle, yard by yard, cost 7,000 Marines their lives and another 19,000 in less than 30 days. 19,000 wounded, 7,000 killed in less than 30 days on Iwo Jima. And only 1,000 Japanese soldiers survived. It was a living, bloody hell for those that were there. And as is etched on the monument right here in D.C., uncommon valor was a common virtue. And Woody Williams displayed that. Like many of you, my mother and father were part of that greatest generation, with my mother caring for the wounded at a hospital in Seattle as they came back from the Pacific, and my father in the 4th Marine Division, making the assault landings at Kwajalein, Tinian, Saipan, and Iwo Jima. Woody Williams, my mother, my father, your mother, your father, your grandfather, your grandmother, and so many others fought for our freedoms like the soldiers of the Revolutionary War and the Civil War and World War I, and then Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And the same holds true for today. Our troops are keeping watch right now on freedom's frontier all around the globe. And here we are on this great weekend as we celebrate the birth of our nation. We celebrate the 4th of July, only a few days away. And each of us should recall that this freedom that we all enjoy, it's not free. It's paid for. It's paid for with the blood of our troops. It's paid for in the crucible of combat on some distant battlefield. And it's paid for each and every generation. So it's important to celebrate our freedoms, but not just today, not just this weekend. We should celebrate them every day. Every day we wake up as a free people, we should be grateful. Grateful for our life, our liberty, and our ability to pursue happiness. So how can we do that? How can we celebrate the 4th of July every day? We can celebrate America, our soldiers' sacrifices. You can do it tonight by simply watching the TV news, or you can pick up a daily newspaper. And remember, it's not the reporter and it's not the editor who gave us freedom of the press. It's the soldier who gave his life at Bunker Hill or Lexington and Concord, or at Gettysburg or the Meuse-Argonne, Bastogne, and in the streets of Baghdad. We can celebrate it by going to church or to synagogue or mosque, or don't go at all. But remember, it's not the priest or the preacher who gave us freedom of religion. It's the sailor who died at Leyte Gulf or Midway, or today patrols the Western Pacific or the Arabian Gulf. We can celebrate our freedom every day by going down to a courtroom, and we can watch lawyers argue the case for guilt or innocence of the accused. But pause and remember, just for a moment, remember that our rights to due process wasn't given to us by the judge and the jury and the lawyer. It was paid for with the blood of the airmen of the 8th Air Force in the skies over Europe in World War II, or the sacrifice of an F-16 pilot flying missions over Europe today. We can celebrate by attending a demonstration or a protest in support of this cause or that, but never forget Never forget that it wasn't the protester who earned their right to freely assemble and peacefully protest. It was the Marine who died on Iwo Jima or Guadalcanal or the Frozen Chosen or Khe Sanh or Maja or Sangin, Afghanistan. There's an election coming up. Go out and cast your vote. It was paid for in blood. And remember, whoever you choose to vote for, it wasn't the politician who earned you that right. It was the blood of soldiers, from the Continental Army to the current day. Each day, each and every one of us should quietly remember all the rights that we enjoy were paid for by some American at some point in uniform. The cost is high. The cost is the blood of the patriots who came before us, and we must never turn our backs on them. They lived and died for an idea, the idea that is America. A simple idea, yet an incredibly powerful idea. So powerful that the British under King George III were deathly afraid of this idea. An idea that defeated Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, defeated the fascists from Italy. The communists feared it. They hated this idea. The Soviet Union collapsed because of it. And the terrorists of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, they hate it too. The tyrants and dictators of all ages, the tyrants the world over, they hate this idea. From the earliest days of the Republic until now, we who wear the cloth of this nation, we swear an oath to this idea. The idea that is written in a document not far from here, the Constitution of the United States of America. And we swear an oath that says we are willing to die, that we are willing to lose an arm or an eye or a leg. We are willing to make great sacrifice to protect and defend that Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We are the only military in the world that swears an oath to a document. We take an oath, not to a person, not to a king or a queen, not to a dictator or a tyrant, not to a would-be dictator. No, we don't take an oath to a religion or a tribe or even a country. We take an oath to an idea that is America. The idea expressed and codified in our founding documents, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So what is this powerful idea? Well, look around you. Look around you tonight. As you sit in front of me, look around to your left and to your right, and you'll see the idea. And the idea is that every single one of us, it doesn't matter if you're male or female. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're black or you're white or Asian or Indian. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter if you're Catholic or Protestant, Muslim or Jew, or choose not to believe at all. None of that matters. It doesn't matter where you came from, what your last name is, what your country of origin is. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, famous or common. None of that matters. The idea that is in that document, the idea for which your military is willing to die, the idea that is in the Constitution that has propelled this nation through some of our darkest days, all it says that in this country, in these United States, under these colors of red, white, and blue, no matter who you are, every single one of us, by the grace of the Almighty God in heaven, is an American. And every single one of us is born free and equal. And we, all of us, are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. And among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and all women are created equal, and that we will be governed by a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and that we will have rule of law, free speech, the right to peacefully assemble, a free press, the right to bear arms, and the right to worship as we see fit. And we will rise or fall based on our talent, our merit, our attributes, our hard work, our perseverance, and we will be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. These are the values and the principles of America. This is who we are. This is why Woody Williams hit the beach at Iwo Jima. This is why so many others have given their lives. This is why 2.1 million of us who wear the cloth of this country right now. This is why we stand the watch. This is why we fight. And the principle of our nation, that we are all in this experiment together. We are all Americans. Every single one of us has each other's back. And out of the many come one, e pluribus unum. We are one nation, under God, indivisible. So let us tonight recommit ourselves, tonight, here and now, to be stronger together rather than apart. We in the United States military will never, ever, under any circumstance, turn our backs on the United States Constitution. We will always be committed to the principles for which it stands. We are one nation, one people, and so long as there is breath in my life, so long as there is breath in any American soldier, this republic for which we stand shall not perish from this earth. Thank you for honoring the sons and daughters of America, and thank you for joining us here tonight. May God bless America.
Thank you, General Milley, for being here with us tonight, for sharing those incredible words. Many of us have come to the tradition that is Continental Congress for decades, and I think I speak for all of us when I say I have never heard such a powerful encapsulation of what we believe in here at the DAR. Thank you, sir. In addition to supporting today's active duty military and a strong national defense, our daughters passionately serve the needs of our veterans, as well as those who have given their last full measure and now rest for the ages. DAR members have taken a special interest in this administration in cleaning the headstones and cemeteries where our nation's war dead lie in eternal peace. But what about those who gave their lives on foreign shores? Who will tend their final resting places? Tonight, we pause to recognize those who are entrusted with the sacred duty of caring for our military cemeteries overseas. The need became apparent following World War I, our nation's first overseas conflict. On March the 4th, 1923, President Harding signed legislation that established the American Battle Monuments Commission and made the agency responsible for the construction of monuments honoring the American Expeditionary Forces. Today, the American Battle Monuments Commission administers and maintains 26 permanent American burial grounds and 32 separate memorials on foreign soil. These are located across Western Europe, Asia, Central America, and North Africa. The Commission is responsible for the fallen of World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and smaller conflicts. And it maintains 4 memorials here in the United States. The Commission's overarching purpose is to commemorate the service, achievements, and sacrifice of our U.S. Armed Forces on behalf of a grateful nation. I am honored this evening to introduce to you Deputy Secretary Robert Delasandro to accept the President General's Medallion on behalf of the American Battle Monuments Commission in recognition of its unwavering commitment to our nation's war dead. Secretary Delasandro is a historian and author with extensive experience studying the American Expeditionary Forces of World War I. He is a retired U.S. Army colonel who previously served as the director of the U.S. Army Center of Military History at Fort Leslie J. McNair, as well as chairman of the U.S. World War I Centennial Commission. Mr. Delasandro, will you please come forward, sir?
Well, General, you made that very easy for me. Thanks for warming up the crowd. This rather reminds me of a time during the centennial when I followed President Obama on the platform, and when I got up, everybody left the room. So, President General Van Buren, General Milley, distinguished honorees, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be with you tonight and among such a distinguished group of awardees, representing the men and women of the American Battle Monuments Commission to you today. As the President General said, we were established in 1923, birthed in the aftermath of World War I. Our commission was created to commemorate and memorialize the service, achievements, and mostly the sacrifice of U.S. armed forces where they have served overseas since our entrance into the Great War. So we're an overseas organization. All of our cemeteries, but as was mentioned, all but 4 of our monuments are located overseas. Our Arlington, Virginia headquarters is the only staff facility in the United States. Archibald Macleish, a World War I veteran and future poet laureate of the United States, lost a brother in the war and wrote these words in his poem, Young Dead Soldiers. They say we were young. We have died. Remember us. They say we leave you our deaths. Give them their meaning. Give them their meaning. That's what ABMC does. So many have left us their deaths. It has come for us and our children and generations to come to give those deaths meaning. ABMC commemorations in American cemeteries around the world, in lands kept free by the sacrifice of men and women dedicated to that freedom, give meaning to those who answered their country's call and paid for our freedom with their lives. ABMC's World War I and World War II cemeteries hold the remains of 125,000 World War dead. 94,000 names of the missing are lost, are inscribed in our tablets of the missing. While most of those honored within our cemeteries are ordinary people who did extraordinary things, in the words of popular historians today, some of the names you'll recognize. At Normandy American Cemetery, Brigadier General Theodore and Lieutenant Quentin Roosevelt, the sons of our president, Teddy Roosevelt. They're buried side by side. The Nyland brothers, who became the inspiration for the movie Saving Private Ryan. At Luxembourg American Cemetery, certainly one of America's most storied commanders, General George Patton. At Manila American Cemetery, the 5 Sullivan brothers, who died together when their ship, the USS Juneau, was sunk in Pacific waters. At Cambridge American Cemetery, Joe Kennedy, older brother of President John F. Kennedy, and the big band leader, Glenn Miller, both killed when their planes went down over the English Channel and were never found. The cause of freedom and liberty for which they traveled across oceans continues to ring true today. So, too, the mission of the American Battle Monuments Commission remains as important today as when the agency was created nearly a century ago. We are a small, independent agency in the executive branch with only 500 employees, spread across 28 staff sites throughout the world. A former ABMC secretary described us once, with those 10 countries, as being 2 people deep. Well, that's a bit of exaggeration, perhaps, but certainly not by much. Though small in number, we are privileged to be entrusted by the American people with the most sacred mission in the federal government, commemorating service and sacrifice, ensuring that our nation's war dead buried overseas are honored every day and never forgotten. And finally, sharing their stories, those who have perished and those who have served, with generations now far removed from the wars that led to the establishment of overseas cemeteries and monuments that we administer, places where history was made. Today, the Commission maintains those 26 cemeteries and those 32 memorials, monuments, and markers worldwide. 23 of the cemeteries and 30 of the monuments are associated with the 2 world wars. Words are incapable of describing these exceptionally beautiful and memorable places. But what I'd like to do tonight is offer a very short video that will give to you an idea about one of them. One of my favorite ones, as a World War I historian, the Meuse-Argonne. That's a cemetery right there in France in a small town called Romagna. Can you cue the video, please?
The Meuse-Argonne American Cemetery lies about 150 miles northeast of Paris. It is the largest American military cemetery in Europe. Within these 130 acres are the remains of more than 14,200 American servicemen and women, most of them who died in the Meuse-Argonne Offensive of 1918. A visitor center tells the story of this crucial campaign. In 47 days of intense fighting, the First Army overcame formidable defenses to force the enemy to retreat. Within the picturesque trees, like a formal French garden, an immense array of headstones rises in long regular rows. The cemetery sits on terrain captured by the 32nd and 5th Divisions. 9 Medal of Honor recipients are buried here. Their stories are a testament to the desperate nature of the fighting. Among them is Corporal Freddie Stowers, an African-American soldier who led his battle-worn platoon in a gallant attack against trenches bristling with machine guns. Beyond a wide central pool, a chapel in the Romanesque Revival style crowns the ridge that overlooks the graves. Inside, the flags of the principal Allied nations in World War I stand behind the altar. Stained glass windows portray the insignia of the American divisions that fought here. On the walls of the covered walkways, panels with tablets of the missing list almost 1,000 names. The Meuse-Argonne campaign was one of several offensives that led to the end of the First World War. Some 26,000 Americans sacrificed their lives for freedom.
I'm a retired soldier, proud of it, and a World War I historian, so this site has special significance for me. It sits on the battlefield of the largest campaign ever fought by the United States Army, a campaign that ultimately led to the armistice and the end of a great war. But it took 2 weeks for American forces to capture the ground that you saw, from the visitor center on one end of that cemetery to the chapel on the other. Think about that. I'll tell you something, my fellow awardees tonight, that will certainly resonate with. The Meuse-Argonne is one of the 4 cemeteries from which the unknown soldier was transported to Chalon, France, where Sergeant Edward Younger circled the caskets 3 times, placed a spray of white roses on the third casket from the left of the casket. The remains that he selected lie in honor at our Tomb of the Unknown at Arlington National Cemetery today. The 3 other unknowns were returned to rest in peace forever at Meuse-Argonne. The cemetery was visited by many of the nearly 6,700 mothers and widows of our nation's war dead, invited by the federal government to visit their sons' and husbands' graves in the battlefields where they fell. These government-funded Gold Star Mothers and Widows pilgrimages were conducted between 1930 and 1933 and were truly exceptional. 9 Medal of Honor recipients lie in those sacred grounds. And the Meuse-Argonne Cemetery was visited just last year by your President General, who participated in a cemetery for the centennial anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. ABMC is an agency of public memory, charged not only with maintaining our cemeteries and monuments to the highest standards, but also with preserving the stories of those memorialized within them. And to that end, we have engaged in partnerships with the National World War II Museum, the National World War I Museum, the Smithsonian Institution, American History Unbound, and the American Battle Monuments Foundation. Next March, ABMC will celebrate its centennial anniversary, having faithfully kept a 100-year promise to the families of our fallen, that the sacrifice of their loved ones would always be remembered, and that their memories would never die. They would never fade. That mission is timeless, and we're proud to carry it forward into the Commission's 2nd century. Another American poet, Sergeant Joyce Kilmer, rests in our Voisin American Cemetery in France. He's certainly best known for the poem Trees, but he also wrote these prophetic words in his poem Rouge Bouquet. There is on earth no worthier grave to hold the bodies of the brave than this place of pain and pride where they nobly fought and nobly died. ABMC cemeteries around the world are more than final resting places. The legacies of our families, representing diversity and values of those that we are as people, are represented there every day. As it was their duty to fight, so is our duty to remember, not just on these special occasions, like National Defense Night or Memorial Day or 4th of July, as the chairman mentioned, but every day that our flag flies in freedom. President General, members of the Daughters of the American Revolution, thank you for the recognition you give to the American Battle Monuments Commission tonight. And thank you for the opportunity to share with you our agency's purpose and our commitment to keep alive the promise made to the families by our chairman, General of the Army John D. Pershing, who said in his tenure as our first chairman, "Time will not dim the glory of their deeds." God bless your efforts to enshrine the American Revolution and our history to future generations, and thank you for this evening.
Thank you, Secretary Delasandro, and all those who manage the sacred properties of the American Battle Monuments Commission. We are indeed grateful. Our attention this evening is now directed to our next award, the Dar Medal of Honor. We were to present it to an extraordinary man, as General Milley mentioned, who was intending to join us at our headquarters this evening. As many of you have already heard, Herschel Woodrow Woody Williams, the last surviving World War II recipient of the Presidential Medal of Honor, passed away early on Wednesday morning at the age of 98. Let us pause to present a tribute to Mr. Williams and his selfless devotion to his country, to freedom, and to his fellow servicemen. Woody was born, as was noted, in 1923 in Quiet Dell, West Virginia. He enlisted in the Marine Corps and served at the Battle of Iwo Jima with the 21st Marines, 3rd Marine Division during World War II. During battle, Mr. Williams displayed what was described as valiant devotion to duty and service above self as he, quote, enabled his company to reach its objective. Mr. Williams' actions, commitment to his fellow service members, and heroism were recognized on October the 5th, 1945, when he received the Congressional Medal of Honor from President Truman at the White House. Mr. Williams' devotion to duty, service members, veterans, and their families had begun, however, long before that battle and before he even entered the Corps. For in the darkest days of World War II, he came in direct contact with families in his own community with his first job, delivering Western Union telegrams, informing Gold Star families of the deaths of their loved ones. He said those experiences gave him a greater appreciation for life and an understanding of a difference in death in the normal world as expected in life and those who were lost serving the military for their country. Here he reflected on his service to our nation during a visit to Gettysburg.
There were 27 Medals of Honor awarded for Iwo Jima. 13 of us survived. The others sacrificed their lives. I am the last now of the 13. With the number that was killed on Iwo Jima, when we got there, they had no place to put the dead. So they wrapped them in ponchos and stacked them along the shoreline, just beyond where the waves stopped. So we're running out of the Higgins boats, and I see these stacks of bodies. And that's one of the first visions that I saw when I got off the Higgins boat. You're standing on ground where people sacrificed their life. It's got to have some emotional impact on you. Here at Gettysburg, the way they fought was so different than what we did in World War II. We think that we profited by the way they fought in Civil War because they were almost shoulder to shoulder. And we were taught not to do that. We were taught to disperse as much as we could. I think that took more courage, really. I have an opportunity to get on the ground. They didn't have that opportunity. The important part is you don't let fear overcome what you're doing. And courage is the opposite of fear. If fear takes over, then you cannot accomplish your mission. Here at Gettysburg, most people do not know that 64 Medals of Honor were awarded to individuals who went above and beyond the call of duty. On this location, there was a cabin with some snipers in it and 6 Union soldiers eliminated those snipers, and as a result of their action, they received the Medal of Honor. Chester Furman and the other 5 individuals, they felt a great deal like I did on Iwo Jima. They were just fulfilling that for which they had been trained and had taken on that obligation that to win, we've got to get the other guy first. I say that it's a divine intervention that I survived. When the commanding officer asked me if I could do something with a flamethrower, I said, I'll try. I strapped on a 70-pound flamethrower and selected 4 other Marines to give me some protection as I approached the pillboxes that were holding us up. We were in the opening. They were in a confined pillbox. So they had all the advantage, and we were losing Marines very rapidly. I didn't go forward alone because I had other Marines risking their lives to protect mine. And in the process of eliminating 7 of those pillboxes, 2 of those Marines sacrificed their lives protecting me. Every Medal of Honor person who has received it would say, it doesn't belong to me. It represents those who never got to come home. Chester Furman and the other 5 individuals, they didn't have to do what they did, but they did it for a cause greater than themselves. Being here at Gettysburg, where you know that individuals sacrificed their life so that we could have all the privileges we have and have the opportunity and the thrill of saying, I am an American. And I am an American because others made it possible.
We do thank the American Battlefield Trust for providing us with permission to use this video they had produced this evening. Following Woody's military service, he came to believe that the recognition of families lost in military service was simply inadequate. That observation and his personal commitment to veterans and their families resulted in the creation of the Woody Williams Foundation. It allowed him to continue his devotion to those who'd served, especially the Gold Star families who'd lost loved ones. Mr. Williams and his foundation were responsible for establishing 94 Gold Star families memorial monuments across the United States, with more than 79 additional monuments underway in 50 states and 1 U.S. territory. His foundation will continue to grow its reach by involvement in multiple initiatives across the country. Mr. Williams was a simply extraordinary leader, a devoted serviceman, a true national treasure. Our thoughts are with his family and his loved ones this evening, and I ask you to join me in a respectful moment of silence in memory of this great American. Thank you. Let us continue with our program tonight. It's sometimes unappreciated that women's contributions to the U.S. military date all the way back to the Revolutionary War. Margaret Cochran Corbin, who assumed her mortally wounded husband's post at his cannon during the Battle of Fort Washington in 1775 is just one example. This courageous act earned her the first United States military pension awarded to a female. It also inspired our National Society to create an annual award to recognize women in all branches of the military whose astounding and outstanding character, loyalty, and leadership distinguish their service to our nation. The names of our military's most respected servicewomen fill the roster of previous Margaret, Cochran, Corbin Award recipients, and tonight we are honored to add another extraordinary public servant's name to the list. The USS Constitution, the U.S. Navy's oldest commissioned ship, now has for the first time in its 225-year history a female commander. She is Billy J. Farrell, and she is this year's Margaret Cochran Corbin Award recipient. Commander Farrell's Navy career began 18 years ago upon her graduation from the U.S. Naval Academy, after which she served aboard various ships. She worked aboard the USS Vela Gulf as an electrical officer for her first tour, before serving as both a weapons officer and a combat systems officer aboard the USS San Jacinto. The Navy has recognized her service with 2 Meritorious Service Medals, 4 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals, and 3 Meritorious Unit Commendation Medals. Earlier this year, Commander Farrell took the helm of the USS Constitution, proudly continuing the legacy of the ship's 225 years of active service. Now docked in Charlestown Harbor in Boston, Massachusetts, the ship was originally launched back in October of 1797. It played an important role in the Barbary Wars and the War of 1812, where the ship was credited with defeating many British vessels. Its heroics during this conflict earned the ship its famous nickname, Old Ironsides, and its undefeated engagement record of 33-0. Today, the ship is crewed by active duty sailors and partners with the nearby USS Constitution Museum, which tells the history of the ship and its generations of sailors. These ranks have included women sailors since 1996, and today Commander Farrell is the ship's first female commander. She is an experienced, respected military leader whose work helps to preserve and educate about a true American treasure, a symbol of our proud maritime heritage and a triumph over tyranny. Commander Billy J. Farrell, on behalf of the National Society of the DAR, I am honored to present you with the 2022 Margaret Cochran Corbin Award.
Good evening. It is a distinct pleasure to be here with you all this evening and to talk with several of you before the ceremony tonight. And I know I'm wearing a different uniform and got several questions about that, but part of the job now is I do get to wear the uniform of the 1812 captain, and I only get to wear it while I'm assigned as the captain of the ship. It's an honor every day. I am from Kentucky, which, as many of you know, is landlocked, and so I often get asked how I started in the Navy, and I was actually channel surfing one day when I was in the 6th grade and came upon a Naval Academy graduation, to which I stopped and watched the entire ceremony. And the second it was over, I found my parents and said, I know where I'm going to school and I know what I want to do with my life. And so I made that dream happen. I graduated as part of the class of 2004 as what they call a surface warfare officer. So my job in the Navy is to fight and drive ships, and that is what I've spent the rest of my career doing. When I was selected to command a ship, there was one name that stood out on the list, USS Constitution, named for the document that governs our country and for the oath that so many of us take an oath to support and defend. And I could think of no better place than to be called captain than on board the decks of that ship, one of the original 6 frigates of our United States Navy. Built in 1797, she turns 225 later this year. I have a crew of 80 active duty sailors where our mission is to preserve, promote, and protect the legacy of the ship and to tell her story. And we are a living piece of history and take pride in that mission. And I am honored to do that job every day that I come to work. If you have not been to visit the ship, I personally invite you. She is an amazing piece of history and I am honored and privileged every day that I get to step on board her. Thank you so much for this honor.
Thank you, Commander Farrell, for your leadership and mentorship of future generations serving within the U.S. Navy. This evening, we next recognize another outstanding individual, a man who has displayed extraordinary patriotism and deep commitment to our military. Pat Scannon founded Project Recover after a trip to Palau in 1993 to help locate the trawler that then pilot George H.W. Bush had sunk in 1944. After the rest of the dive team left, Pat hired a local guide to explore the other artifacts from World War II. It was then that he saw the 65-foot wing of an American B-24 bomber lying in shallow water along a coral island in Palau. For Pat Scannon, that wing was more than just a slice of metal. It represented a forgotten battle and brave men who had fought and died there. It represented stories lost to the chaos of war, the annals of time, and the secret stillness of a watery grave. All were stories unknown to the airmen's families. That moment marked the inception of what is now known as Project Recover. In 2001, Pat had assembled an all-volunteer team conducting missions to recover the remains of those who are listed as MIA, missing in action. In its first 20 years of operation, the project conducted 20 field missions, identified and documented more than 50 U.S. and foreign aircraft on land and underwater. These aircraft were linked with at least 26 MIAs. After sharing results with the Defense Department's POW MIA accounting agency, several MIA recovery missions were conducted to repatriate these Americans based on Project Recover's findings. A stirring feature-length documentary that follows Project Recover's search for the more than 80,000 Americans still listed in missing in action from World War II was recently released. Here is a short but powerful clip from To What Remains.
And then we come into the main debris field, and the first thing I see is a propeller. Finally, after 22 years, we are looking at Lieutenant Hoole's Avenger. You're in 70 or 80 feet of water, and you just don't know whether you want to scream or cry.
Victory. It's just victory. I mean, there's families that don't know what's going to happen to them now because they're going to have a lot of questions answered finally after all these years.
For nearly 3 decades now, Pat has been committed as a volunteer to bringing closure to the families of those who are listed as missing in action. Pat earned his BS in chemistry from the University of Georgia through ROTC and received a commission as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army upon graduation. He then earned a PhD in organic chemistry from the University of California, Berkeley, and then his medical degree from the Medical College of Georgia. He is a board-certified physician in internal medicine who completed his residency and fulfilled his military duty as a major at the Letterman Army Medical Center in the Presidio in San Francisco. Dr. Scannon, on behalf of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, it is an honor to present you the Founders Medal for Patriotism in recognition of your unique dedication to those who never returned home and to the families who continue to grieve their loss.
President General Van Buren, I thank you, and I thank all the members of the Daughters of the American Revolution for this great honor. Working in conjunction and in parallel with the Department of Defense, Project Recover has the bold vision of returning home to their families all of the more than 81,600 missing Americans from World War II to this day. We do so to honor these MIAs and their sacrifices. We do so also to acknowledge and honor the consequent sacrifices endured by generations of Gold Star MIA families which have followed. Such are the numbers of Gold Star MIA families across our United States that it is likely within this grand DAR Constitution Hall, more than one Gold Star MIA family is in attendance with us. In accordance with that, I respectfully state that on behalf of all of the Project Recover team members who have supported and continue to support Project Recover's 30-year ongoing worldwide mission, I am honored to accept this Founders Medal of Patriotism. And furthermore, I dedicate this medal to all Gold Star MIA families in attendance here tonight and to all Gold Star MIA families across our United States. We will continue to bring them home. Thank you.
He stopped his medical practice to do this as a volunteer. The President General's Medallion serves to honor those organizations that personify the spirit of DAR through exceptional service to our country, as demonstrated by their commitment to historic preservation, education, and/or patriotism. It is a distinct honor to present the President General's Medallion to the Society of the Honor Guard of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier for its outstanding work in commemorating the centennial of the Tomb of the Unknown in 2021. Please allow me to present Richard Azaro, who is seated in the President General's Reserve section. He is co-founder of the Society. Richard, would you please stand? I know you're here. There he is, right down front. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, sir. Throughout the Van Buren administration, we have commemorated this solemn anniversary through the dedication of Never Forget Gardens, the administration of our annual American History Essay Contest, and presentations by tomb guards across the nation. It was this officer's highest honor, however, to accompany members of the Tomb Guard Society on a pilgrimage throughout France and then here in Washington, D.C. last October and November to recreate the journey of our nation's unknown soldier a full century ago. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the gentleman who was the inspiration, the guide, and the larger-than-life force behind this amazing journey. Please join me in welcoming Society co-founder and past president Gavin Mcelveen to accept our gratitude on behalf of our National Society to the Society of the Honor Guard, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Thank you. I don't know what to say. I'm following in some pretty big footsteps here. I have it written down because I should, or else I'll forget. But I do want to start off by saying that to my brothers and sisters in arms that are present here tonight, those that are far away from their families in some distant land, I want to thank you for setting aside your personal liberties, your personal freedoms, to give me and my family the will to live free. You're a credit to the ideals of the Daughters of the American Revolution and a testament to the soul of our nation and her people. Thank you, General Milley, for your dedicated service to our nation's warriors and for sharing some of the same air underneath some of the same silk. It's been a pleasure jumping with you. To the ladies of the Daughters of the American Revolution and those present at this 131st Continental Congress, I am humbled to be with you, and tonight to accept the President General's medallion on behalf of the Society of the Honor Guard, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. But if you've been lucky enough to invite me into your community for a presentation, you know that if you give me 20 minutes, I'll take an hour to talk about the unknown soldiers and its history. It's not about myself, it's about the team that was behind me. People like the co-founder Richard Azaro, who drugged me into the president's seat. My wife, Captain Retired Amy Mcelveen, who again pushed me in the right directions. And to the literally hundreds of DAR members that also joined the Society of the Honor Guard, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish a lot of what we had set out to do. You know, when I first met President General Van Buren, I was as nervous as a new sentinel on the mat at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. You have quite a reputation. I can thankfully say that she only kept me in the hot seat for about 5 minutes before pledging the full weight of DAR into the plans for the centennial of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, both here in the United States and abroad in France. And I honestly had no idea what she meant when she said, "We live to serve." My personal thanks to Ms. Judy Eckler, the National Vice Chair for the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and your tireless efforts for our two organizations to work together towards one goal. Ladies, with your infectious passion for promoting patriotism and preserving American history, you opened your chapter doors and helped current and former Tomb Guards conduct over 260 educational presentations on the history of the unknown soldiers buried in the Memorial Plaza in Arlington National Cemetery and the sentinels that stand the eternal vigil. That eternal vigil, the 24-hour watch, started tonight, 85 years ago. So there will be a sentinel tonight watching that. You took the information that we provided, knowing that countless Gold Star families view the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier as a final resting place for their loved one who never returned. You helped the communities that you served plant gardens as a visual way to represent America's unwavering commitment to our sacred duty to recognize, to remember, and to honor our veterans and those that we have lost now and for many years to come. To date, over 380 Never Forget Gardens have been dedicated around the United States and in France, including I think it's over 14 that Miss Rayanne Victor coordinated in Washington, Idaho, Hawaii, Montana, New York, Tennessee, Oregon, and the list goes on. Thank you for leading the way. You know, recently we had a call for volunteers and was sent out to crochet poppies to be placed at the Stonehenge Memorial in Goldendale, Washington. It was to jumpstart a natural poppy field that just was having a hard time growing. It was going to be a beautiful never forget garden. And when I sent a simple text, I was amazed, and I shouldn't have been, I don't know. You responded in true DAR fashion. You sent in over 3,000 crocheted poppies. Yes. These poppies came from 45 states, 2 countries, and over 250 amazing volunteers. And Miss Palermo there at the Maryhill Museum of Art states that she has 10 large garbage bags filled that she can't put on the stones at the memorial. But she has plans to use them next year to put out onto that field that is having a hard time growing. So they will be used. Thank you. I have to say that you are simply amazing. When asked to volunteer, you step up. It's truly amazing. Thank you, Denise, for accompanying us along with the Gold Star Mothers last October when we followed in the footsteps of the World War I unknown soldier. You stood side by side during the centennial of his selection and the beginning of the difficult journey home 100 years ago in the 4 cemeteries that were mentioned earlier this evening. I have to say that I'll always treasure the moment that we were on the plaza making sure that the commitment of DAR to honor and recognize the unknown soldiers remained firm and unbroken. Each minute of each day, service and sacrifice is honored as a sentinel walks the mat at the tomb of the unknown soldier. These young men and women demonstrate our nation's commitment to never forget those who have served and sacrificed. They live, they breathe our belief that a soldier never dies until they are forgotten. Tomb guards never forget. God bless you, our nation's warriors, the families of our fallen, and this amazing country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies, we should be immensely proud of the fact that our National Society is the only organization that can state that it has a now 101-year consecutive unbroken record of placing a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier. We thank the Society, and in particular, we thank you, Gavin, for your exemplary dedication to the centennial. We were proud to be your partners. We think of you as an American hero who walks among us, a giant in many ways. Thank you, sir. Our nation's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and the American Battle Monuments Commission were not the only entities born out of World War I. On June the 4th, 1928, 25 mothers residing in Washington, D.C. formed what would become a national organization known as the American Gold Star Mothers, Inc., for the purpose of not only comforting one another, but also giving care to hospitalized veterans confined in hospitals far from home. They were organized by Grace Darling Siebold, whose 23-year-old son, Airman George Bond Siebold, had been lost somewhere in France. Mrs. Siebold was a member of the DAR, having joined the Capital Chapter here in Washington, D.C. in 1931. Today, the important work of the organization that she began continues by women determined that their family sacrifices will never be forgotten. It is an honor for me to present to you the president of the immediate past president of the American Gold Star Mothers, Joanne Maitland. I'd also like to ask Sarah Taylor to stand. Sarah is the newly elected president. Where's our Sarah? She's in the audience. Sarah Taylor, the newly elected president of the Gold Star Mothers, who just happens to be the immediate past regent, I believe, of the General Samuel Hopkins chapter of Kentucky. She is a DAR member. I got to know both Sarah and Joe as we traveled across France as part of the Centennial Pilgrimage, and I asked Joe to come this evening to accept a certificate of honor on behalf of our organization to, in some small way, recognize the patriotism, service, and sacrifice of the women who belong to the Gold Star Mothers of America. Joe?
I'd like to open up by asking, would every Gold Star family member please stand? Thank you. You heard a little snippet that Woody said in his video, because there is a famous saying by Joseph Campbell that states, "A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself." My blue star turned to gold on December 3rd, 2002, when my son, my hero, Specialist Richard Buckingham Hubble III, we called him Buck, died at age 22. He was a beautiful blue-eyed boy who was always there to help his friends, especially the underdogs. He joined the U.S. Army following in the footsteps of his grandfather and his uncles. He volunteered before 9/11. His job as an Apache longbow helicopter mechanic was to prepare his birds, as he used to call them, to go into battle. I remember as a child watching the Memorial Day parade in my little seaside town in Massachusetts and seeing a convertible with ladies dressed in white sporting military-type caps and a sign on the side of the car which identified these beautiful women as Gold Star mothers. Little did I know, many years later, I would be a member of American Gold Star Mothers, which in earnest is an organization no one wants to be eligible to join. Alas, in Buck's name, I joined. American Gold Star Mothers was founded in 1928 and congressionally chartered as a veteran service organization in 1984. Our founder, as you have heard, Grace Darling-Seibold, felt that grief was self-destructive and volunteering can be helpful when dealing with that grief. For 94 years, we're not quite as old as you, we have continued the mission of remembering our children through this service. We volunteer in numerous Department of Veteran Affairs medical centers throughout the United States and spend thousands of hours in military communities. We perform outreach and support for other Gold Star mothers and their families. As I become familiar with the amazing works of the daughters, I feel a camaraderie of like missions. Service to veterans, active duty military, community, and each other is a foundation we share. I feel now is a perfect time to cultivate our mutual love of country by working side by side to honor many heroes. We have some American Gold Star mothers who are daughters, as you have heard. I have even taken the first step, and my application for membership has been submitted. It would be my honor. Every day, as American Gold Star mothers, we remember all the courageous souls that gave their lives to something bigger than themselves. We reach out to those that bear the sacred name Gold Star with understanding and eternal respect. We, along with the daughters of the American Revolution, will always remember our loved ones. Thank you for all that you do. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe Maitland. You possess our lasting gratitude for your family's sacrifice. Please now pause with me to honor those who serve in uniform around the world tonight, protecting us from harm. I am the first President General who is also a Blue Star mother,
And I ask you to now join with me in recognizing the families of our active duty military. Will all those who have family members who are currently serving in our armed forces please rise so that we may show you our appreciation, our Blue Star families. Thank you. Kathy Roth Duque is the co-founder and CEO of Blue Star Families, the nation's largest chapter-based military family organization with programs serving more than 1.5 million members of the military community and millions more civilians. Kathy has received the Secretary of Defense Medal for Outstanding Public Service, the Chief of Staff of the Army Medal for Outstanding Civilian Contribution, and is recognized as a daily point of light by George H.W. Bush's The Points of Light Foundation. It is my pleasure to also present a certificate of honor to recognize the work of her organization. Kathy.
Well, thank you so much. It is such a delight and an honor for me to be speaking to the Daughters of the American Revolution. And I was very excited when I was given the opportunity to speak to you all, because I think the Daughters are the organization that America needs right now. You carry with you the seeds of our country, and you live that memory of that inspiration that drove our forefathers to create this extraordinary country. You carry it with you alive today, and I think, unfortunately, it's not something everyone understands. It's not as living to our entire country as it needs to be, and it's your mission to bring that mission alive. And for that, I'm truly, truly grateful. I think I am the luckiest person in the world. I have a wonderful, wonderful job, and that is to try to help take care and help our communities better take care of the men and women who serve active duty, Guard and Reserve, wounded, transitioning service members, survivor families, all the families associated with these folks. And I do it out of love. I do it, first of all, out of love for my country. My family is an immigrant family from 2 generations ago. My grandparents all came here. And for generations and generations and generations back, my family knew only fear and only hardship, and only the state depriving them of rights. But when my family came to America, we thrived. We understood what the blessings of liberty are, of our Constitution, and of the men and women who make that possible. And it was the men and women of the United States who made it, of the United States military, who made it possible for my family to come here in the 1920s. And so I feel that immediately for myself. So I love this country. I also fell in love with a U.S. Marine, and I married him, my husband here. And it was through my love for my husband who served 30 years in the U.S. Marine Corps. 20 of those years I was with him. And for my children who did not make a choice to be part of the military, but whose lives were indelibly shaped by it as they moved 9 times in 16 years. As my 10th grader went to her 10th school. And I came to, it's that love for my family and also the love for the men and women who served with my husband and their families that made me realize that for us to execute this honor and this pleasure of serving our country, we needed to have better lives for our families. We needed to better be able to support them so we didn't have to worry whether or not our families would be okay if we lived this lifestyle. So that those who served in uniform could be overseas focusing on their mission and not worrying how the people at home were. I think the Daughters of the American Revolution can help us tell this story in our communities, that even today around the world, There are men and women who sleep rough, and there are their families who live lonely at home. And they need our support every day. Even without wars on the front page, we are securing our freedom and our prosperity at home. But with less than 1% serving, fewer and fewer people in America are aware of that. So I think your presence in our community, together with Blue Star Families chapters in our communities, could do something to make a difference there. And I'm excited to talk to you about that. Many Americans do not realize today that the men and women who serve for a long time. Our 21st century military is a different military than ever before in our history. The average person who serves in the military serves 10 to 12 years. It's no longer the 2, 3, or 4-year military from the 20th century. So the majority are married, the majority have children. The vast majority do not live on military bases. We outsourced military housing, we downsized our basing. Over 70% live in communities, many far away from each other. So they're far away from family and friends, and they're far away from others in their unit, and they need their communities to wrap their arms around them and support them. This is our mission at Blue Star Families, is to create these strong communities of support. I think it's your mission at the Daughters of the American Revolution to provide those community of supports. So I look forward to finding ways that we can work together better to support this precious resource. I salute you for what you are doing to tell the story in our community. I salute you for the 14 million hours of community service that happened under President Van Buren's tenure. So you all are the spirit of America. And I think in many ways, you all are who the people, the men and women, and their families in uniform are so proud to serve. So thank you for having me with you, and I salute you.
Thank you. What a joy to have you here, Kathy. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Roth-Duquet. We greatly appreciate what you do for the families of our military personnel. We have several more important recognitions this evening, but let us first meet Evangelo Van Morris, a former nuclear-powered ballistic missile submariner, Afghanistan-deployed combat veteran, and U.S. Navy surface warfare officer. Van earned a master's degree in business administration from the Naval Postgraduate School, a bachelor's of science in engineering technology from the University of Memphis, and an array of military achievements. During his 30 years with the U.S. government, he traveled to 45 countries and spent his last 2 tours of duty at the U.S. Pentagon. Tonight, we welcome him to the stage of DAR Constitution Hall as we together express our shared love of country. Van, the stage is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, everybody. DAR, how are we doing today? Are you all motivated today? Oh, I can't hear you. Are you motivated today? Madam President General, thank you very much. And to the entire DAR global enterprise, thank you all for giving me an opportunity to play a small role on this great day. I bring you greetings from the beautiful city of Tampa, Florida. I'm here with my wife, so let me embarrass her. Stand up, dear. Stand up, come on. I'm gonna embarrass her. Isn't she pretty? Isn't she pretty? We, just a week and a half ago, we celebrated our 33rd wedding anniversary. So she's been following me around, doing things like this. So thank you all for being a part of something greater than yourselves. I do appreciate you for being a part of what the United States flag represents. Right? So the United States flag, also known as the Star-Spangled Banner, and around the world known as the beacon of hope, and also known as Old Glory. So I'm going to recite a poem for you today. I'm not going to sing. So people see me get on the stage and say, okay, you got a singer up here. He's going to sing. No, I'm not going to sing. I'm going to recite a poem for you entitled Old Glory. And my heart is just filled with joy. I'm overwhelmed with gladness just hearing everything that I have heard today. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, let us begin. The Old Glory presentation that you are about to witness is a time-honored tradition that symbolizes our service members, our veterans, and our first responders rise through the ranks. But most importantly, it represents their love for a nation that they so proudly served. Now, if I could get you all to use your imagination just for a moment. Imagine the United States flag having a personality. What would that be like? Now imagine our flag having a voice. What exactly would it say to its outstanding service members, to its veterans, and to its first responders? What would it say to you? Well, I would like to draw your attention to a fact. The fact of the matter is, the United States flag is the most recognized symbol in the world for peace and freedom. And my friends, when it comes to freedom, well, freedom is not free. It comes with a price, as the general said, paid for by our prisoners of war, our missing in action. We have, as was said, over 80,000 missing in action service members right now today, and by our veterans who have accumulated injuries and disabilities, and our outstanding service members who are serving and can reach out and touch anyone, anywhere, anytime. So let there be no doubt that I believe that if our flag could speak, it would say, I am the flag of the United States of America, but you can call me Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings, and I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically across the great institutions of learning, and I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident, I am brave, I am proud, and I am ready. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is held a little higher, and my colors are a little truer. Except for my God, I bow to no one, and I am recognized all over the world. I am sovereign, I am saluted, I am respected, I am honored, I am loved, and yet I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Some of these battles include Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Aragon Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Quezon, Saigon, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, Syria, and scores of other places long forgotten by all. Except those that were there with me, I know because I was there. I led my special operations forces in the quiet of the night and at the tip of the spear. I saw them fight fearlessly around the globe every day of the year. I watched over them even during the casualties of Desert One, and they still loved me. Now they're the fighting forces that you cannot see. I was on a small hill called Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my soldiers and my sailors, my airmen, my Coast Guardsmen, and my Marines, they all cheered me. I was so very proud. I was at Ground Zero in New York City on September the 11th as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of once proud buildings by brave firefighters. These were heroes who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America, although bloody, will never be beaten, because those who would destroy me cannot win. For I am the symbol of freedom, of one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on in the streets of my own country. And when it is done by those whom I have served with in battle, it hurts. But hear me today when I say, I will overcome because I am strong. I have slipped the surely bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. And I have been that silent witness to all of America's finest hours. But my finest hour comes when my stripes are torn into strips to be used as bandages to cover the wounds of my fellow comrades who are on the field of battle. And also when I fly at half-mast to honor my soldiers and my sailors, my airmen, my Coast Guardsmen, my Marines, and my Space Force Guardians. But most importantly, when I'm placed into the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the gravesite of her fallen son or her fallen daughter, I am so very proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God. Long may I wave. Thank you.
Well done. Come see me, sir. I had the opportunity to see Van's performance, and I knew that you would like it. Van, please accept this small certificate as an example of our appreciation for the work that you do to raise appreciation for our flag of the United States of America. We'll wait for a photo.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Our National Society is justifiably proud to claim a historic connection to Army nursing through our first Librarian General, Dr. Anita Newcomb McGee, who practiced medicine here in Washington, D.C. and directed the DAR Hospital Corps during the Spanish-American War. In 1902, she was serving as acting Assistant Surgeon General for the United States when she founded the Army Nurse Corps. More than a century later, the Army Nurse Corps includes more than 20,000 medical professionals, one of whom is honored with the annual Dr. Anita Newcomb McGee Award as Outstanding Army Nurse of the Year. Our National Society presents this award to an individual who has demonstrated expert clinical practice, effective leadership, and commitment to advancing the science of nursing. In so doing, we honor the memory of our early DAR member who founded the storied Army Nurse Corps. Tonight, we salute Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Stuckey. Dr. Stuckey, a visionary nurse scientist in the Army Nurse Corps who has been widely recognized for his program of research, executive leadership, and volunteer service to specialty nursing organizations throughout a military career that spans 3 decades. Lieutenant Colonel Stuckey serves in several senior nursing roles, including Army Director of the Biobehavioral Research Interest Group, Board of Trustees at the CCI Research Foundation, and as a perioperative consultant to the Army Surgeon General. His research, leadership, and advocacy advance military nursing science and improve clinical outcomes. Lieutenant Colonel Stuckey is a prolific researcher and author, having published 28 peer-reviewed manuscripts. He presented at 25 medical conferences around the world, winning the 2021 and 2022 Army Nurse Corps Association Nursing Research Awards. As a leader, he has been a major contributor to revising military nursing protocols for safety and for patient care. He is also an excellent mentor to his fellow nurses, working to reduce barriers to learning and increasing the number of certified nurses. On behalf of the National Society, it is an honor to present Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Stuckey with the 2022 Dr. Anita Newcomb McGee Award. We'll put your comments there. Perfect. You're very welcome.
Good evening and thank you, Madam President General, for the kind words and warm introduction. I'm honored to be selected as the recipient of the prestigious Dr. Anita Newcomb McGee Award as the Army Nurse of the Year, and I'm delighted to join you on National Defense Night to honor our active duty service members and veterans. Military nursing has a storied and revered past, with military nurses providing life-saving care for the sick and wounded in response to virtually every U.S. military conflict since the country's inception. Loyally serving humankind in war and peace, military nurses train and prepare to quickly deploy to operations requiring healthcare support to victims of combat trauma, disaster, and disease worldwide. The multi-talented skill set of military nurses was on full display during COVID-19, where they managed crises and developed clinical solutions to provide safe, quality health care to our service members and beneficiaries. They continue to bolster staffing in civilian hospitals strained by pandemic surges across multiple states. Military nurses in my current location, Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, were at the forefront of humanitarian missions, Operation Allies Refuge and Operation Allies Welcome, where they supported the health care needs of Afghan evacuees and injured U.S. service members. Our Army Nurse Corps motto is to embrace the past, engage the present, and envision the future. While the Army Nurse Corps has a long and distinguished lineage, our past is intertwined with the great history of the Daughters of the American Revolution. When embracing the history of the Army Nurse Corps, it is important to discuss our beginnings and our esteemed founder. The Army Nurse Corps was founded by a brilliant visionary leader and member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, Dr. Anita Newcomb McGee. She founded and directed the DAR Hospital Corps to train volunteer nurses during the Spanish-American War, and in her role as acting Assistant Surgeon General, established the Army Nurse Corps in 1902. The Army Nurse Corps is the living legacy of this trailblazing pioneer, and we owe a debt of gratitude to the DAR and to Dr. McGee for our important beginnings. It is an honor and a privilege to serve our nation's warriors and their families as an Army Nurse Corps officer. Service to others has provided me with a profoundly rewarding and enriching career, whether caring for patients as a perioperative nurse or contributing to Army medicine as a nurse scientist. Our robust military nurse scientist community is engaged in life-saving medical research to improve healthcare quality and safety for all those entrusted with our care and to improve warfighter readiness on the battlefield. Our nurse scientists are pioneering advances in combat casualty care, surgical safety, women's health, resuscitative care, biobehavioral research, and many other areas. I am proud to be part of this important scientific community leading healthcare innovation within military medicine. Thank you for this recognition. I accept this award on behalf of my fellow Army Nurse Corps officers, past and present, my family, including my wonderful wife, Michelle, who's down here in the front row in the red dress. Say hi to her if you see her. And I'd also like to thank the many great leaders who have mentored me and supported me throughout my career. I'm grateful for your time and for the opportunity to speak to you. I'm proud to serve. God bless America.
You are out of central casting. Perfect.
Thank you.
Well done, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Congratulations, Christopher. The National Chair of the DAR Service for Veterans Committee, Christine Wood, will now present her committee's 2022 award recipients. Mrs. Wood.
The Outstanding Youth Volunteer Award is presented to a youth who provides service for veterans. The award is given in recognition of outstanding or unusual care given to veterans. The candidate for the award serves as a role model for peers and consistently demonstrates qualities of leadership. Evan Cobley is the 2022 Outstanding Youth Volunteer. As the Arizona State President, Children of the American Revolution, Evan chose History, Healing, and Hope, Celebrating Symphony as his state project. Evan was able to raise over $31,000 while highlighting the importance of history and the healing qualities of music. His project provided free symphony concerts for veterans as well as concerts tailored especially for veterans. Evan's project provided hope and entertainment during the first 2 years of a very difficult pandemic. Evan has been involved with the Veterans Heritage Project for 3 years, currently serving as the vice president. The purpose of the club is to archive veteran stories and publish them in hardcover books, which are then archived in the Library of Congress. Evan has served as a guardian on an honor flight mission to Washington, D.C. While on the mission, Evan became very close to veteran Seymour Evans. Evan recorded Seymour's story for the Veterans Heritage Project, but shortly after Evan interviewed Seymour, Seymour passed away. Due to Evan's efforts, Seymour's story has been recorded and will remain preserved in the Library of Congress. This year, his senior year of high school, Evan will be attending Notre Dame Prep School in Scottsdale, Arizona, as well as applying to universities where he plans to study psychology. Accompanying Evan tonight are his parents, Michael and Henrietta Cobley, and his sister, Lauren Cobley. Evan is sponsored by the Arizona State Society, Morgan Elliott State Region. Madam President General, may I present the 2022 Outstanding Youth Volunteer, Evan Cobley.
Madam President General, good evening and thank you for this wonderful honor. Over the past 5 years, I've volunteered more than 670 hours to support Veterans Heritage Project, Arizona Honor Flight, Operation Valentine's, and my own Children of the American Revolution state project, History, Healing, and Hope, celebrating our symphony during the pandemic. This project was inspired by my great-great-grandfather, Arthur Judson, who simultaneously managed the Philadelphia Orchestra and the New York Philharmonic. I started the We Love Our Heroes campaign in August of 2020. My campaign started off with a video highlighting Arizona's local heroes. Soon after, DAR began its Salute to Service initiatives that provided a seamless pairing for Arizona chapters to give back to our many heroes as a way to support both CAR and DAR. I supported our heroes by providing concerts for Arizona veterans and first responders. One of these concerts, put on by the Phoenix Symphony Orchestra, helped address ailments like Alzheimer's and PTSD. It was their first live event after the start of the pandemic. I also worked with retired Colonel Larry Lang of the Arizona Flagstaff Symphony Orchestra. He used to be the Air Force band conductor and even conducted here in Constitution Hall. The National Symphony Orchestra was founded in 1931 by Hans Kilmer and also played here in Constitution Hall. Hans Kilmer had originally played in the Philadelphia Orchestra as a first cellist and debuted as a conductor under the management of my great-great-grandfather. I worked alongside World War II veteran Jack Wiggins, Korean War veteran Seymour Evans, and Afghanistan veteran Ryan Forzeman as a part of VHP. I was able to record their stories and publish them in books that are now housed in the Library of Congress. I would like to thank the veterans who were willing to share their time and experiences with me. I would also like to thank the Arizona CAR, DAR, and SAR, as well as my family, for their incredible support. It is amazing to be on this stage. What an incredible next act you ladies have achieved.
Wow. We congratulate you, Evan, and we thank you for your commitment to serving our veterans. Your volunteer efforts are an inspiration, and I hope you will continue to work with our veterans for years to come. Mrs. Wood.
The Outstanding DAR Volunteer is presented to a DAR member in recognition of outstanding care given to veterans in VA facilities. The Outstanding Volunteer gives more than her time. She makes meaningful contributions to veterans through creative and resourceful outreach. The 2022 Outstanding DAR volunteer is Jackie Utley. Jackie has passionately served veterans in her community for years, contributing over 30 hours a week to veterans' needs. In March of 2021, Jackie was presented the Deceased Vietnam Veteran Surviving Spouse lapel pin. Jackie commented to the audience of veterans, "You were not welcomed home as you should have been, and we are trying desperately hard to make sure that you know your sacrifice was appreciated." Jackie's volunteer efforts have shown appreciation to hundreds of veterans. Jackie chairs the West Tennessee Veterans Coalition, an umbrella group of veterans organizations and local groups which identify veterans' needs and find solutions to fill those needs. Jackie stays in close contact with the local state veterans home, activities director, fulfilling the needs and requests of the veterans. During COVID lockdown, Jackie's services were crucial to the needs and comforts of the veterans. She collected snacks and other food items where the veterans were not able to do their own shopping. Jackie even arranged for 3 deliveries of beer from local beer distributors. Jackie works with 4 state veteran cemeteries, honoring the veterans interred at the cemeteries, even attending the funerals of unaccompanied veterans to ensure they have someone to honor and remember them at their funeral service. Jackie's service has made useful and meaningful contributions in the lives of veterans. Jackie was unable to be with us this evening and will accept her award with a pre-recorded message. Sponsored by the Tennessee State Society, State Regent Cecile Wimberly.
Madam President General, I am deeply honored and grateful to be the recipient of this award. I'm especially grateful to the Jackson-Madison chapter for nominating me. Thank you, ladies. I share this honor with veterans that I have loved. It is shared with the memory of my father, my uncle, and my late husband, who was a Vietnam combat veteran. This honor is also shared with all World War II and Korean War veterans, as well as my friends and family who were in Vietnam. I gratefully share this honor with my DAR sisters, who work tirelessly to enrich and honor our nation's veterans. These women participate in national projects such as the Vietnam War 50th Anniversary Commemoration and the Wreath Across America program. My DAR sisters participate on the state level through national initiatives such as honor flights and their state regents' veterans projects. They visit veterans in state veterans' homes and participate in the funerals of unclaimed veterans who have no living relatives or friends as they are laid to rest in state veterans cemeteries. Veterans are honored by my DAR sisters on the local level through parades and celebrations and innumerable projects to recognize and honor our local veterans. I am this year's representative of the work of the NSDAR Service for Veterans Committee, but I humbly share this award with all of those DAR members who honor, recognize, and comfort our veterans on so many levels. We DAR members have a proud heritage of service. I am humbled and honored by this recognition and encourage all DAR members to continue our DAR legacy of service to our veterans. Again, thank you so very much.
We congratulate Jackie. We thank her for her work, and we're quite sorry that a prior family commitment kept her from being here with us in person. Mrs. Woods, would you please continue?
The Outstanding Veteran Volunteer Award is presented to a veteran in recognition of outstanding achievement in personal, professional, and family life. The veteran must prove significant contributions of leadership, patriotism, and increased public awareness of veterans. The 2022 Outstanding Veteran Volunteer is Mr. Randy Edwards. Accompanying Mr. Edwards tonight is his wife, Mrs. Linda Edwards, National Vice Commander of the American Legion, James Higuera, Mr. Edwards served over 37 years in the United States Army. His awards and decorations include the Meritorious Service Medal with 4 oak leaf clusters, the Army Commendation Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, the Army Achievement Medal with 4 oak leaf clusters. Upon retirement from military service, Mr. Edwards gave his time and energy to veterans. Mr. Edwards, alongside United States Senator Mike Lee, created a full-time national contact positions so veterans are able to access all services which should be available to them. Mr. Edwards has personally assisted 118 Special Forces veterans, all of whom were applying to unseal their medical records and thereby receive disability compensations which they are qualified to receive. Mr. Edwards is the founder, coordinator, and chairman of the Utah County Veterans Service Community Partnership, founded in 2008 and continuing to the present day. In his capacity as chairman, Mr. Edwards has recruited 200 different organizations that work to provide services for veterans throughout Utah. Mr. Edwards is the first Veterans Mentor Coordinator for the 4th District Court in Utah. Since 2015, he has been a mentor for struggling veterans. Through Mr. Edwards' work, veterans receive the unique help they need. The assistance and education provided through Mr. Edwards is essential in the formation of veterans courts, which are tailored to deal with the issues and backgrounds unique to veterans as they navigate the civilian justice system. For decades, Mr. Edwards has donated thousands of hours of selfless and generous service to veterans. He's sponsored by the Utah State Society, State Regent Catherine Assay. Madam President General, may I present the 2022 Outstanding Veteran Volunteer, Mr. Randy Edwards.
Please address our gathering.
Madam General, President, I'd also like to thank Catherine Acey, our state regent for the state of Utah, the state of industry, for your support in being here. It's very humbling to accept an award that you know that it took many others to help you earn. I just wanted to be here for one main purpose. I don't believe that anything happens by accident. I believe that a lot of it is God-driven and His purposes is His. I had the privilege of being the chairman for the World War II State Funeral Salute as the chairman for the state of Utah. Working with the board, I actually earned the first award that was given by Woody Williams, and it's the sand from Sarabachi that Woody Williams. My honor tonight is not to accept this award for myself, but to plead to those of you that has an ear to President Biden. It's our obligation to take care of our greatest generation, the World War II veterans. Woody Williams was our last living Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. And because of that, we want to make sure that President Biden designates a state funeral on behalf of all of our 16 million men and women that served during World War II. And in order to do that would be to put Woody Williams in his state funeral and honor him on behalf of those 16 million. So if you have an ear to President Biden, if you have any influence whatsoever, we ask that each of you, and even each of you has an influence by just writing a letter. I'm looking at this audience of 3,000 people, they say, that sit in here. If each of you just wrote a letter to the President of the United States and say, we need a state funeral for our last living Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Please do that. Send it to them, and let's acknowledge our World War II veterans, our greatest generation. My father was a member of the greatest generation, and every time that I have had to stand and to honor those tributes and salutes to, I always forget that my father served in World War II. He left when I was just born, so I never really knew him, but I was honored to know that he served our country. And I just accept this award on behalf of the American Legion, who gave me the opportunity to be able to serve, and for the state of Utah, the greatest state in the Union for volunteerism. Thank you.
Come to DAR Constitution Hall and you get things done, right? Thank you, Randy, for your service to our nation and your devotion to your fellow veterans. And of course, we thank you, Christine. I thank you for joining us. Tonight has been both moving and inspiring, and I hope that it reminded you anew of the debt we owe to the men and the women of our military who stepped forward and voluntarily raised their hand to state, and this was referred to a couple of times tonight, I do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. It is a voluntary oath. God bless each and every one of them. One last time, ladies and gentlemen, please express your appreciation to our American men and women in uniform. May we have some music as the colors of the United States of America are retired. The 131st Continental Congress of the Daughters of the American Revolution is recessed until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, when we hope that all members will be present for our annual memorial service. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Thank you.